7-8 nahi, sir, please give me 10 to 12 minutes.
Your party
Okay,
has given that time to you.
Anyway.
I cannot give.
Sir, as we celebrate Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, that Azadi which has given us all, I mean you and me all, the gift of a life of dignity and a freedom to live a life the way we want according to our choices. Therefore, this Azadi, sir, this freedom cannot be taken just for granted. It is our constitution that has endowed us with invaluable principles that take us towards this life of dignity. And sir, the ideals that are enshrined in the preamble, they are the same overall ideals that are there in the Constitution of India. Every single ideal enshrined in the preamble holds the value, the tallness, the immensity, and the sacredness, sir, of a holy book. Today, I wish to acknowledge the preamble of the Indian Constitution, sir, and to emphasize the pressing need to adhere to each of its principles. Sir, unfortunately, in the last few years, it has been seen that various values of the Constitution have been derogated. So let's take up sovereignty first. Now, when China, time and again, baring its teeth, growling, establishing settlements in Ladakh and Arunachal Pradesh, can we really boast of sovereignty, sir? This is what I would like to know. An honorable member of this very house, a Rajya Sabha MP from the BJP, has made a comment on Twitter, 56 इंच चौड़ी छाती पर चीनी चढ़े बैठे हैं और वह चुपचाप है. So this comment has been made by a Rajya Sabha MP of the BJP. And today, the actual capital outlay for defense has been constantly declining in such a situation, despite the budget estimates being high. This has been happening for the last 3 years. The CAG report of 2020, it says, it brings out the pathetic conditions of our soldiers in Siachen and Ladakh, sir. There is shortage of adequate warm clothing, of boots, of snow goggles, of jackets, and even nutritious food, which is required for survival in those harsh, cold, high-altitude conditions. And Sir, CAG has recommended an investigation into this. I don't know what has happened of it, but the report says that the procurement has been delayed for 4 years. And Sir, currently, India's neighboring countries, their relationship and the relationship of India seems to be slightly worrisome. And Sir, be it China, be it Pakistan, be it Nepal, and at such a time, when we speak about 80% and 20%, is that sensible? Because if we have 20% population disgruntled, dissatisfied, how is it going to be advantage to the sovereignty of India, and how are we going to remain strong from inside and outside, sir? Talk of socialism, sir. Is socialism meaningful when PSUs, after PSUs are privatized or disinvested? Sir, despite the latest economic survey highlighting the increased demand for Manrega, the allocation hasn't moved an inch. It still stands at 73,000 crores. The PDS, the budgetary allocation for the PDS, sir, has directly, drastically fallen. So my question is, if the poor is not our priority, then where is the social justice? Secularism, sir, is a lofty idea. Our late Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji had said, very correctly he had commented, if India is not secular, then India is not India at all. Sir, with the exponential rise on attacks on places of worship, particularly of the minorities, and the legitimization of such acts by the measured silence of those who are in authority, sir, doesn't it shame the ideals of secularism? What about justice? Justice, where there is no justice, there's no democracy. But what should I say of justice today, sir? कैसे करे इंसाफ के दिल साफ नहीं है? कैसे करे दिल साफ के इंसाफ नहीं है? सर, जिस देश में हमने देखा है कि judges, for the first time ever in history, Supreme Court judges have publicly appealed for justice themselves. So these ideals of justice enshrined in the preamble, do we see them really in existence? What is liberty, sir? Liberty refers to the freedom for the people to choose their own way of life, have political views, have religious views, have social views, have their own social behavior. Do you call it liberty in a country, sir, where my choices are not my own, but somebody else decides what I eat, how I dress, whom I marry, whom I love, what I worship? If I am not allowed to make these choices, today the women in Karnataka are not allowed to make their choice of wearing a hijab, sir. If I'm not allowed to make my choices, where is the liberty? This is my question to this House. Equality, sir, is a very broad term. There are so many aspects of equality. When journalists are charged with stringent anti-terror laws merely for exercising their right to freedom and expression, when even facts and reason come under assault, what do you call it, sir? Doesn't it stink of inequality? We have financial equality, about which my colleague Anand Sharma just mentioned. What an unequal country the world has called it, where 55% of national income is owned only by 10% of people, and the bottom 50% own only 13% of the national income, sir. But I don't want to go into that. I wish to speak about gender inequality. Sir, please give me 2 minutes.
Okay. Please.
The World Economic Forum's Gender Gap Report 21 says that out of 140 countries, India is at the 140th place among 156 countries as far as gender equality is concerned, and is ranked the 3rd worst performing country in South Asia. If this is what is the situation, and our president in his address says that our priority is empowerment of women, I want to ask the Prime Minister, when are you bringing the bill for reservation of women into Parliament? Isn't it time? When you are talking about empowerment of women, that's the way to empower women. When are you bringing that bill? Sir,
Thank you.
budgetary allocation for rural development.
Your time is over.
Sir, please. I am talking about inequality between...
I understand this is not your अंतिम
I'm
speech.
just ending,
ये आपका
sir.
आखिरी भाषण
Sir,
नहीं
I'm
है.
just
आगे बोलिएगा.
concluding.
अभी आपके टाइम खत्म हो गया
I'm just
और आपके
concluding,
टाइम
sir.
आपके पार्टी ने दिया है. Your time is given by your party. That much time you have given.
Sir,
I have
when
given
I
a
talk
little
of
more.
fraternity,
Please wind up now.
When calls for genocide are made, sir, on minorities, and the government is silent, when Muslim women are auctioned on social media, government is silent. When Mahatma Gandhi is humiliated and the government is silent, sir, where is this feeling of fraternity in our country? Sir, at the end, I will only say, these are my concluding words, democracy is not a state, sir. Democracy is not a Brahm. The government has one astra, and that is Brahm Astra. Brahm Nirman karna everywhere. Democracy is not a Brahm. Sir, it is an act. India's democracy has to be maintained as one. If we do not have the willingness to fight for it, it will be taken for granted and will be moving towards authoritarianism
Thank
and
you.
majoritarianism. Sir, at the end, I
Thank
need
you.
to quote Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. Please allow me to quote that. Sir,
Thank you.
quote, freedom
I'll
of
call the next
mind is
speaker
the
now.
real freedom.
I'll call the next speaker.
A person whose mind is not free, though he may be in chains, is a slave, not a free man. Sir, let us be free of hatred.
Thank you.
Azadi is
The next
freedom
speaker is
from
Prakash
hatred,
Javadekar.
sir.
Shri Prakash Javadekar.
Swaraj is my birthplace.